go.
Hello and welcome to my TED Talk. Now, let me ask you this. Do you remember high school or school just in general? What is it that everyone else was doing or trying to accomplish? No. I'm not talking about finding a boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm talking about finding a place to fit in or a group of friends that you want to have. In our society, you will rely on someone at one time or another to accomplish a goal. But several centuries ago, it wasn't like that. You relied on others to hunt game, fight off predators, gather roots, berries, and vegetables, and just to stay warm at night. But obviously, it's not like that anymore. We socialize to try and make friendships that last a lifetime, or to stay in the loop about all the latest social media news, or about new technology coming out. And that's the problem. Technology and social media are supposed to help us connect with one another, but it's actually disconnecting us. My idea is for us to disconnect from our phones, computers, tablets, iPods, and any other kind of technology for at least an hour a day. To sit down with the family, have a dinner, talk, join some friends at the mall, join your colleagues after work, have a beer if you're old enough to drink. In our current society, we are more worried about the well-being of a phone that someone has dropped than someone who falls down and may potentially be injured. We are so focused on our material wants and how much money we make or obtain, our social standings, if we have the latest tech, newest clothes, coolest shoes, or the most expensive car. But this is all a never-ending loop of unhappiness. It's called the hedonic treadmill. You know the feeling you get when you get a brand new toy or a new iPod? Well, that feeling usually fades and fast. This causes us to want something else, new, to fill the void. This is why people with more material goods are very unhappy, depressed, anxious, feel like they have no worth, and are very sluggish in their day-to-day lives, and usually end up turning to drugs to fill the void. The things we think we know about happiness simply aren't true. Over the last 50 years, our wealth has more than doubled, and yet our happiness hasn't changed, even though we now have bigger houses and more cars. It turns out that 50% of our happiness level is due to our genetics. This is our happiness set point. Most of us are born with a certain range of happiness, so even if something good or bad happens to us, the happiness will always return to the set point. What about the other 50%, you may ask? You may think it's social status, what kind of job we have, age, where you live, your health, but these things only account for 10% of our happiness. So what about the other 40? That 40 is our internal activity, or the actions we choose. These are things that we can do in our everyday lives, such as choosing a different route to work, school, or your morning jog. It's as simple as a bit of variety. We should focus on what would make us happy internally and what would make us happy today or in the long run. It's as easy as doing good things for others, the community around us, volunteering, or recycling. You could even start a hobby you've always wanted to pursue. But the most powerful thing you can do to be happy is get close with your friends and family. This gives you a sense of being accepted and loved. You can personally grow by learning a new skill or getting better at something. These are intrinsic goals. They are things that make us feel good when engaging in the activity itself. It's a psychological need. People who are intrinsic live happier lives or more vitality, less depression, and less anxiety. Our values are what determines a lot of our happiness. An extrinsic goal is having material wealth, like social status, money, and image. But these things do not make you happy in the long run. They are very short-lived happinesses. These two are polar opposites. Extrinsic goals counter any hope of real happiness. And then I was going to put in the quote to go along with that too. And then the call to action, what happens if anything.